So one of the many communication challenges that has resulted from the pandemic is the impact of virtual hiring, a process that companies and students both have to go through. And because of the pandemic, a lot of businesses have had to change a lot of parts of their interviewing process to be virtual rather than in person. And this is one affected how students and applicants prepare for an interview, the efficiency with which businesses can hire, and even the potential future of the interviewing process. So to start focusing on what students need to prepare for, before the pandemic went down, Indeed published an article on their website titled How to Prepare for an Interview. And some of the most important things that it talked about that students need to be ready for is to meet the interviewee with firm handshakes, maintain eye contact during the interview, and even something as simple as travel. Make sure you know how to get to the location you're going to, and make sure you show up there on time. But in a virtual world, that focus of what a student has to prepare for has shifted a bit. So in an interview with Forbes with Kevin Parker, who's the CEO of the company HireVue, this past May, post-pandemic, some of the things they talked about that students now need to focus on for virtual interviews are making sure you have a setup with good lighting, no background noise, putting an appropriate background behind you that's going to shed you in a professional light for the interviewer, checking your microphone and webcam in order to make sure that you have good sound and good picture quality, and even just speaking to the camera, which this is an important one. It's kind of like a fake eye contact sort of thing, where whenever we're on online calls, whether it be Zoom or Skype or something, our natural instinct is to look down at the person that's on the screen with us rather than up at the camera. But actually, if you look down, you're not going to be making that eye contact with the interviewer on the other side of the screen, which is important to practice the skill of speaking to the camera, which is something that students may not be too used to. And another impact of what the virtual world has had is, what do businesses now have to do? Like, how are they going to start hiring? In an interview with CNBC, Aman Brar, who's the CEO of a talent recruitment program, he was cited saying, today's recruiting environment has never been more challenging, and it's even harder to gauge personality fit of an applicant through a screen. And this has led to companies using social media more, such as LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, to help get a gauge of who their interviewees are, understanding the applicants. And in addition to that, Michael Wright, who's the global head of talent acquisition for the company Group M, has been quoted saying, "This crisis has led us to reimagine recruiting, and companies have to step up their use of new technologies in the interviewing process," which is cool because it's been a challenge for companies and how they're going to continue to recruit top talent. But this challenge has led them to step up the use of certain AI-driven talent acquisition tools. For example, some popular ones are chatbots, software programs, or virtual tests that are going to help companies screen candidates without extending payroll, because it's all going to be done virtually. And this creativity has allowed companies to use technology to create a better avenue through which they're going to screen applicants in an interview process. So all this turns to, what's interviewing going to look like moving forwards? Well, it's probably actually going to look a little bit different. For example, we live in an ever-growing digital world, and with an increasing need to communicate with team members and coworkers across the country and even around the world, the skill set of being able to succeed through a screen in a virtual setting has that much increased demand than it used to. And CNBC actually did a study about this. They said over 90% of organizations intend to stick with their new virtual hiring methods and technologies moving forward post-pandemic, which is huge because it opens the door for a more in-depth and a multi-layered interview process that companies are going to be able to send their applicants through. So they're going to be able to screen the first round of employees through virtual tests, and then they're going to be able to much better narrow down their applicants for in-person interviewing. So to kind of wrap all of it up, yes, virtual interviewing shifts the focus that an applicant needs to worry about, and there's skills in interviewing virtually that an applicant needs to develop, which is a new challenge. But also it allows them to demonstrate better skills for communicating through a virtual world, skills that are in higher demand now. And also the need for companies to continue to hire through the pandemic and prove that they can still hire top talent has led to great innovations in the interviewing process that's likely going to make the interview process different than it ever was before post-pandemic. The need for companies to hire virtually has led to even more efficient means that companies can come up with. So don't be surprised if interviewing looks different after the pandemic than it did before the pandemic. Thank you for watching.